The Constitution of India, Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Hello 8th standard children, hope you all are doing good. As usual, you are watching the videos, I hope, and systematically doing the work of all the subjects. So after few months, you will be going to the next class. There will be evaluation of your work. So be prompt, be punctual. Today, one of the students of my class happened to send me a quote. I thought I would share this quote with all of you. It goes like this. You can never cross an ocean unless you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. I repeat, you can never cross an ocean unless you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. The meaning of this quote also was sent. It was really superb. What does this quote mean? You should have a goal in your life. To achieve that goal, to reach that position, you should always work hard. You should have the belief, you should have the faith in you. It's not necessary that always we will succeed. Sometimes we may have moments where we feel a bit low, but we have to gather our spirits, come up, gain the momentum back, regather ourselves and try to reach that goal. It was a wonderful proverb. I thought I should really share this with you. Similarly, you should have a goal now in your mind that you have to work hard, get good marks, make your parents happy. And if you work towards it, surely you will succeed. So last class, children, I taught you about water, isn't it? About surface tension of water, anomalous expansion of water. What is the meaning of anomalous expansion? All these substances, they expand on heating and contract on cooling. But water below 4 degrees Celsius, it doesn't contract like other substances. It expands. It forms ice. And when it becomes ice, the volume increases and density decreases. When the density decreases, it will not go down. It will always come up and float over water. That is the reason ice cubes always float on water. They will never sink. Clear? So today I move on to the next topic. Before that, I also taught you about soap and how it is used in washing. Hope you all remember that. So today the topic is components of water. What is the meaning of the word components? Components means parts. Now our blood also has many components, right? If I ask you a radio, a computer, it also has many components. That is the parts. Similarly, our water, precious liquid also has components. What are those? You very well know about it. The two components of water are hydrogen and oxygen. These are the symbols for hydrogen and oxygen. I have taught you in the previous class, previous lesson, second lesson, that water is a compound. It is made up of hydrogen and oxygen, and this is the formula for water. Then in chemical changes lesson, do you remember I taught you about electrolysis? What is the meaning of electrolysis? The process by which an electrolyte gets decomposed by the absorption of electricity. Electricity സഹായം കൊണ്ട് ഒരു solution അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു electrolyte decompose ആവും, split ആവും. So today we are going to study that water electricity pass ചെയ്താൽ എന്താവും? Water will decompose to form hydrogen and oxygen. ഹൈഡ്രജനും ഓക്സിജനും കൂടെ ചേർന്നിട്ട് വാട്ടർ കിട്ടും. അതന്നെയാണ് നമ്മൾ ഇന്ന് പ്രൂവ് ചെയ്യാൻ പോണം. വാട്ടറിനെ ഡീകമ്പോസ് ചെയ്താൽ With the help of electricity, again we are going to get back hydrogen and oxygen. For that, there is a voltameter shown in the textbook. Voltameter. Now, have a look at that figure. It is a voltameter. You can see 2 iron nails, 2 inverted test tubes, and then it is connected to a battery. Have a look at it, children. So children, have a look at the board. This is just a rough diagram of the voltameter. So you can see 2 iron nails. Then there are 2 inverted test tubes. Test tubes ne invert cheyidu vechirikkana over water. These are 2 inverted test tubes. Now this is a glass trough. It contains 3/4 of water. This is a glass trough. It contains 3/4 of water. Then these iron nails are connected to a battery. Now we have to put 2 or 3 drops of hydrochloric acid into this pure water. Why we are adding hydrochloric acid to this water? One thing you should know now, children, pure water will never conduct electricity. Pure water la kuda electricity pass avilla. Only when we make it a bit acidic, it will conduct electricity. Clear? ഇവിടെ acidic ആയ കാരണമാണ് അത് electricity pass ആക്കാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ അതിന്. Okay. So my dear children, this is a voltameter. 2 iron nails, they are, with the help of wires, they are connected to a battery. Why they are connected to a battery? Because you know metals conduct electricity. Then inverted test tubes are there. This is a glass trough and this contains water also. To that water we have to add hydrochloric acid, because only then pure water can absorb the electricity. Clear? If pure water has to absorb the electricity, there must be some acidic content in this, as hydrochloric acid was added to this. Clear? Okay. Now, when the current is passed, what happens? First, water absorbs the electricity. It undergoes electrolysis. That means it starts to split. After splitting, you know, water contains hydrogen and oxygen. Now comes the very important part. Have a look at the diagram. You can see 2 test tubes. One, the level is bit more, and in the next one, the level is bit down. At the top. So this is a positive test tube and this is a negative terminal. This is a positive terminal and this is a negative terminal. Now, when water splits, it splits into 2 gases. One of the gases comes to this and the other gas goes to the other test tube. Now, you have to think which gas will go to which one. You have to think, because hydrogen is always positive, it will naturally go to the negative terminal. Oxygen is negative, so it will come to the positive test tube. So hydrogen is positive gas, positive in nature, so it will go to this test tube and it will be collected in this test tube, because you know opposite sides attract. Oxygen is negative, so it will go to the positive terminal. Now have a look at this mark, children. Oxygen, the amount is only this much. Hydrogen, it is like this, nearly double the amount, isn't it? Oxygen collection is only this much is oxygen. Here this much is hydrogen. Why it is double the amount than this? Oxygen the collection itre illu, ivada hydrogen itre undu. Hydrogen goes to the negative side, oxygen comes to the positive side. Because you know the formula of water is H2O, that is hydrogen and oxygen combines in the ratio 2:1. Hydrogen 2 ആണ്, oxygen 1 ആണ്. Hydrogen will be 2 and oxygen will be 1. Clear? So the formula for water is H2O, hydrogen it will be 2 and oxygen it is 1. So if oxygen is 1, double the amount will be hydrogen. Always hydrogen combines with oxygen in the ratio 2:1. You must not forget this point. Okay, children? So once again, take a glass trough. connect 2 iron nails to a battery, invert 2 test tubes over the iron nails, then take 3/4 of water is already there in the trough, add hydrochloric acid nearly 2 or 3 drops. When electricity is passed, water absorbs electricity, it decomposes, and that is called as electrolysis. It decomposes to form hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen is nearly double the amount of oxygen because it combines in the ratio 2:1. Now again there is a figure in the textbook that is called as Hoffman's water voltameter. The same thing is shown in that Hoffman's water voltameter. If you have a look properly, hydrogen is nearly double the amount of oxygen because the ratio is 2:1. Exams always they ask the name of the instruments. Last year also I think it was asked, the name of the apparatus was asked to carry out the electrolysis of water. The answer is Hoffman water voltameter. So as I said, hydrogen and oxygen combine in the ratio 2:1 to form water. Now the next paragraph in the textbook is again about collection of hydrogen. You have studied before in the metals chapter that when a metal reacts with acid, hydrogen gas is given out. Now suppose this is a test tube, it contains a metal zinc and we are adding hydrochloric acid. After reaction, hydrogen comes out in this manner and it is collected by keeping a test tube inverted over this. The hydrogen will go up, then it can be collected in this test tube. Clear? Why? Because hydrogen is less dense than air. Now this hydrogen, after collecting it, now suppose I am taking this test tube that is full of hydrogen inside. I am bringing a lighted matchstick to the mouth of this test tube. We can see water droplets on the sides of the test tube here. Why we can find water drops? Because hydrogen in the test tube combines with oxygen that is there in the atmosphere. When we bring a lighted matchstick, of course it needs oxygen, isn't it? Oxygen is required for burning. So that oxygen which is there in the atmosphere combines with this hydrogen to form water droplets. So from this it is clear that water is formed by hydrogen and oxygen combining in the ratio 2:1. Okay. Now in the experiment that I taught you before, I just forgot to mention 2 points. The 2 test tubes that were there in the voltameter, suppose this contains hydrogen and this contains oxygen gas. If I bring a burning matchstick to the test tube that contains hydrogen, what will be your observation? The matchstick will burn, but it will burn with a pop sound. And then it will be put off. It will not burn, it will burn with a pop sound and then it will be put off. Why it is put off? Because hydrogen does not support combustion. It is a combustible gas. Hydrogen does not support combustion. It is a combustible gas. This is a new word for you. Swayam katta, kattan sahayikilla. It is a combustible gas. So when we bring a matchstick, for few seconds it will burn and then it will be put off with a pop sound. This is a very important test for hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas aanennu ariyan, we had to bring a matchstick to the mouth of the test tube containing hydrogen. It will be put off with a pop sound. That is a test for hydrogen gas. Now if a test tube, the same test tube that we collected oxygen, when we bring a matchstick towards the mouth of the test tube, it will burn brightly. You know, oxygen supports combustion. So this is combustible gas, oxygen supports combustion. Clear? I hope now it is very clear. That experiment, 2 test tubes were there. One we collected hydrogen, other test tube we collected oxygen. When we bring a lighted matchstick to the mouth of this test tube that contains hydrogen, it will be put off with a pop sound. That is a test for hydrogen because it is combustible. Swayam kattam bashayada kattan sahayikilla. It will not support combustion. On the other hand, oxygen will support combustion, and the matchstick, if you bring a matchstick on the mouth of the test tube, it will burn with a blaze, burn more brightly. Okay, now the next portion in the textbook is the reaction of metals with water. You have studied in the metals lesson that when metals react with acid, we get hydrogen gas. Similarly, there are some metals that react instantly, immediately in water, like sodium, potassium, because they are soft metals. They undergo reaction vigorously. Some metals like magnesium react only in hot water. There are some metals they do not react at all, like copper, gold, platinum, etc. And there are some metals like iron, hard metals, they react only with steam under vigorous conditions. Okay, you have studied all this before, children, so it doesn't need further explanation. Now I move on to the next page, and the topic there is universal solvent. What is the meaning of universal solvent? You will come to know later. Now in the textbook, they have asked us to take 3 beakers, add water to it. 3 beakers contain water. First beaker we have to add salt, second we have to add sugar, and the third we have to add vinegar. Now 3 beakers filled with water, add salt, sugar, vinegar. What will be the taste of this water? After adding salt, when we taste it, it will be salty, isn't it? This test tube, the taste will be salty. This test tube, the taste will be sweet because we have added sugar, and here we have added vinegar, so the taste will be sour. Sour varna puluppu. So from this we understood the very important property. What is the property? The very important property is when substances dissolve in water, they acquire the property of the substance dissolved. When substances dissolve in water, they acquire the property of the substance dissolved. First it was plain water, and you know water is tasteless. Water does not have any color, taste. But when we added salt, sugar and vinegar, the taste changed. So when we add substances, water will also acquire the taste of the substances added to it. Adhyam water ne taste undirunnu. Pinne substances endano add cheyana adhe taste water nu kittum. Water will acquire varna edukkum. എന്തിൻ്റെ ടേസ്റ്റ് എടുക്കും? ഏത് സബ്സ്റ്റൻസസ് ആണോ അതിൽ ആഡ് ചെയ്ത് അതേ ടേസ്റ്റ് വെള്ളത്തിനും കിട്ടും. വെള്ളത്തിന് ടേസ്റ്റ് ഇല്ല, അതിൽ ഏത് സബ്സ്റ്റൻസസ് ആണോ നമ്മൾ ആഡ് ചെയ്യണം ആ സബ്സ്റ്റൻസസിൻ്റെ ടേസ്റ്റ് തന്നെയാണ് വെള്ളത്തിന് കിട്ടുക. So this is very important property. Now the second one, this was about taste. Now again we have to take through. One contains plain pure water. To one of the test tubes we have to add acid, any acid, hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid. To another beaker, that is the third beaker, we can add a base or an alkali. Okay, this is water, this contains some acid in it, this contains alkali like sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide. Just few drops we have to add, be it an acid or a base. First drops add here in the water. Now we have to use pH paper. Now about this pH paper you will study in 9th standard. pH paper is also a type of paper that will change the color accordingly. If it is dipped in an acid, its color will be different. If it is dipped in a base, its color changes. So that will be taught later, do not confuse. If you take red litmus paper and if you put it in water, will there be any change? No, red litmus will not undergo any change. Here also no change, but if it is dipped in a base, red litmus turns blue. Okay, now take blue litmus paper, put it in water, no change. But when it is put in an acid, blue litmus turns red. Here if you put a blue litmus, there will be no change. That means acid ഒട്ടിച്ചേലും base ഒട്ടിച്ചേലും litmus paper ആയാലും pH paper ആയാലും changes വരും. Okay? But when we put red litmus paper or blue litmus paper, when we dipped it in water, there was no change. From this we can understand that water is neutral in nature. Water is neutral in nature. That means it is neither acidic nor basic. Pure water is always neutral. It is neither acidic nor basic. Blue litmus will change area, red litmus will change area because it is water. It is neutral in nature. But when we dip a pH paper, don't get confused. The pH of water is 7. pH will be green. That you will learn in higher classes. വെള്ളമാണെങ്കിൽ pH പേപ്പറിൽ കളർ green ആവും. Acid ആണെങ്കിൽ towards red ആയിട്ട് മാറും. Base ആണെങ്കിൽ towards violet. So that portion I do not wish to confuse you. As of now, just understand that water is neutral in nature. It is neither acidic nor basic. Water in acidic properties ulla, basic properties ulla. അതുകൊണ്ട് blue litmus ne red ആക്കൂല്ല, red litmus ittal blue ആവില്ല. Understood? Clear. Then comes the next 3 beakers. And in the first beaker we have to add ink, red ink. Second beaker we have to add copper sulfate. Third beaker we have to add nickel sulfate. It is shown in the textbook. First beaker add red ink, second copper sulfate, third nickel sulfate. The first beaker it turned red in color, the second one turned blue in color, third one turned green in color because red ink വെള്ളത്തിൽ ആഡ് ചെയ്തപ്പോൾ വെള്ളം red ആയി, copper sulfate ആഡ് ചെയ്തപ്പോൾ വെള്ളം blue ആയി because copper sulfate is blue in color. And third beaker we added nickel sulfate which is green in color. അപ്പോൾ വെള്ളത്തിനും കളർ ഗ്രീൻ ആയി. സോ ഫസ്റ്റ് വെള്ളത്തിന് എന്താണോ ആഡ് ചെയ്യണത് അതിൻ്റെ ടേസ്റ്റ് കിട്ടി. നൗ വെള്ളത്തിൽ ഏത് സബ്സ്റ്റൻസസ് ആണോ ആഡ് ചെയ്യണത് അതിൻ്റെ കളറും കിട്ടും. First when we added ink it was red, when we added copper sulfate it became blue, and when we added nickel sulfate it became green in color. So water acquires the color also of the substance added to it. ഇപ്പോൾ വീട്ടിൽ മഞ്ഞപ്പൊടി ചേർത്തിയാൽ വെള്ളത്തിൻ്റെ കളർ മഞ്ഞയാവും അല്ലേ? നീലം ചേർത്തിയാലോ വീട്ടിൽ നീലം ഉണ്ടാവുമല്ലോ എല്ലാവരുടെയും. വെള്ളത്തിൽ ആഡ് ചെയ്താൽ വെള്ളത്തിൻ്റെ കളർ നീലയാവില്ലേ? So from this we understood that waterൽ എന്ത് സബ്സ്റ്റൻസസ് ആണോ നമ്മൾ ആഡ് ചെയ്യണം അതിൻ്റെ കളറും കിട്ടും അതിൻ്റെ ടേസ്റ്റും കിട്ടും. So from this now we are coming to the very important statement that water is called as an universal solvent. Universal പറഞ്ഞാൽ universe means പ്രപഞ്ചം അല്ലേ? The whole universe എന്ന് പറയില്ലേ, അതുപോലെ വെള്ളത്തിൽ 90% of the solutes dissolve ആവും. Maximum solutes വെള്ളത്തിൽ dissolve ആവും. Only few will remain insoluble or will not dissolve. Immiscible ആയിട്ട് നിൽക്കും, ബാക്കി എല്ലാം വെള്ളത്തിൽ dissolve ആവും. So water is called as an universal solvent. Now I'll read out this sentence. Please listen to me carefully. Since water can dissolve various substances and is widely used for preparing solutions, it is a universal solvent. You have studied solute plus solvent is equal to solution. ഒരു സൊല്യൂഷനിൽ മോസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ദ ടൈംസ് വാട്ടർ ആയിരിക്കും സോൾവെൻറ്റ്. കാരണം വാട്ടറിലാണ് പല സൊല്യൂട്ട്സും ഡിസോൾവ് ആവുക. സോ അഗെയിൻ ഐ റിപ്പീറ്റ്, സിൻസ് വാട്ടർ ക്യാൻ ഡിസോൾവ് വേരിയസ് സബ്സ്റ്റൻസസ് ആൻഡ് ഇസ് വൈഡ്ലി യൂസ്ഡ് ഫോർ പ്രിപ്പയറിംഗ് സൊല്യൂഷൻസ്, ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് എ യൂണിവേഴ്സൽ സോൾവെൻറ്റ്. The medicines, the juice, the curry that your mothers prepare, that you drink, whatever you eat, it needs water, isn't it? Can you eat sambar, rasam and many other curries without water? No. We need water for our existence. Water is a very, very precious natural resource. So my dear children, do not waste water. Save it, conserve it. Otherwise, future generation will be in trouble. It is in our hands to take care of Mother Nature and the environment. So always try to conserve water, do not waste water. And today I taught you about components of water, then I taught you about Hoffman's water voltameter and the properties of water and why it is called as a universal solvent. So here I would stop. Till I meet you all next, it is bye bye from me. Thank you.